know of the great School of the West .world. We know of the heroism of turning out with love, hope, and redemption for our parents, our children, the white children in particular. We know that that is one of the most wholesome things, that in fact maybe the best thing that you could do for our people. And the one and only Brant Danger has put that for his goal, has set that for his goal, has put that before him, and many heroes have joined him in this endeavor. We salute them all. And right now we bring on the one and only Dean Brant Danger. There he is, brother. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Do you hear me okay?
Oh, man, your mic is nice and clear and strong. It's good, man. What's going on?
Well, I was in the neighborhood. I thought I'd just pop in.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, Jason's got me on the show tonight, guys, because School of the West has finished another book, and this is on the Battle of Thermopylae. Yep, there it is. And I'm doing a series that I call Western Civilization for Young Learners. So I've done one on castles to get started, get my feet wet, so to speak. And then I'm focusing on ancient Greece. After ancient Greece, I'll do Rome, Julius Caesar, and then we'll work on medieval Europe and some stories such as King Arthur, Beowulf, etc. And so far we've got an introduction on ancient Greece, and then I've got the Battle of Marathon, and then this is the next one in the series, the Battle of Thermopylae. So it's been a while. It's been since October since I put one out, and I'm glad that this one is finally finished. I want to talk about the sections of the book first for anyone who's unfamiliar with it. I write these on a 4th, 5th grade reading level. There's also text in there that they're not going to be familiar with. So I will usually put in a definition after a word. If it's something that a kid's not going to be familiar with, then I also put down the pronunciation guide for these things. After the informational text, which has lots of illustrations in there, I introduce vocabulary words that the kids should learn from the story. And then as you're seeing there on the cover, I'll have standard comprehension questions, and then I'll have questions that are higher order questions that the kids can discuss with their parents or discuss with someone else. Doesn't necessarily have a right or wrong answer. It's just putting more thinking into the process of, what if you were in the position of some of these characters, what would you be doing? And what's the importance of the stories? So some kids will respond to that. Some kids mentally won't be ready for that yet. Then there's other things. There's matching illustrations with vocabulary words. There's mazes and word scrambled and word search, doing things with the vocabulary words. There is coloring pages. And then at the end of it, I put in some other pictures that are adjacent to the storylines, and I call that write your own story. So kids that have the creative spark and they want to write their own stories, as most kids do when they're not being pressured in school, they can go ahead and put pen to paper there. And the whole book is printed on paper where kids can write on it and scribble on it and draw pictures and stuff as they go along. So it is a textbook, but it's also an activity book.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the first books that I had. I just got this one last night, folks. So I haven't had an opportunity to read it. But just like with the other books, and I'm seeing here, and Brant, if you want me to go to any specific pages I have that you had sent me, I had was able to flip through this, see the art is amazing. We're talking about Darius. We're talking about Xerxes. We're talking about the heroes of our race at Thermopylae. We're talking about how we got to that point where these heroes ended up being in conflict, fighting for Western civilization. And thank God they did it as a group rather than individuals. But it is completely, it's perfect. Every one of your little boys or young boys, every one of your grandsons, they should all have, even a little older are going to be able to appreciate this. But then certainly in the back, we got word finds, we got write your own story, we got handwriting practice for the different words. Sparta, for example, handwriting practice that you can go over with the kids. Coloring pages, absolutely epic. And this is the brilliance of so much of what Brant does, is he gauges the equipment or the information with the equipment, which is the delivery system of education, so that it fits with the age groups. So they're going to be able to receive very important information at a level that makes sense to them, that is going to be recalled by them. And he then invokes all of these different aspects of their personhood, their personality, and incorporates that in the actual book. It's totally amazing. You have the mazes that the kids can do as well. And this is the kind of thing, obviously, if you need something, you need a moment, you gotta do some work in the kitchen, you gotta clean up or something. Putting this in front of your children, I mean, and daughters too, for this. I mean, he's got specific books for little girls that are going to appeal more to them. But there's no reason that daughters can't also look through this, write their own story, which the write your own story page on 68, 70 as well. Write a story about the pictures. But Brent, I want to throw the mic back to you, and you can tell me whatever. We have up right now the table of contents for people to be able to, they want to screen capture that and zoom in and see what's there. What else would you like me to flip through, or just you want me just to flip through the?
Yeah, we could just well, tell you what, Jason. How about you just go from page to page, and then I'll make a comment about that since I did send those to you. The reason that I put this on here is because the first couple of books that I did, I realized that I didn't have a table of contents, and people need to see what is there, and it took me a couple of books to get really organized, and I can't quite read that there, but I know what I did is I had a little short introduction about what happened after the Battle of Marathon. And then I had an introduction about Sparta. So the kids need to understand how Sparta is different from the other city-states so that they understand how their soldiers, their hoplites acted in battle and why they made the decisions that they did. And then I talk about Thermopylae itself, so that there is an understanding that's built on top of the Battle of Marathon, which is then built on top of the introduction to ancient Greece. And one of the things that I emphasized a little bit more in this book than the other ones is the masculine, all out, no excuses, we're either going to kick your ass or die attitude of the Spartans. And the kids will understand that this was actually enshrined. This was part of their laws, because I talk about Lycurgus the lawgiver, which is either myth or 100% real, or a combination of how Sparta came to have this constitution, this set of laws that the other city-states did not. How that differentiates.
What was his name? What was his name again?
Lycurgus.
Lycurgus. All right.
Yeah. Lycurgus the lawgiver. And there's a picture of him right there. That's Lycurgus talking to some Spartans. So there's the background on that, and then I talk about Thermopylae. Now, I will say that while the Battle of Thermopylae was going on, there was also the Battle of Artemisium, which I left out of this because that's the naval battle that was occurring at the same time as the land battle. In the next book I'll cover Artemisium, and then the Battle of Salamis, which is the big naval battle, which really turned it around for the Greeks.
Amazing.
So, go ahead.
No, keep going. I was just saying amazing.
Okay. So it's all set up. It's historically accurate. I used Herodotus as the source for this one. And from time to time, I would take a little phrase, a little piece out of the English version of Herodotus, and I would put it into this, or sometimes I would put it in and then I would change some of the vocabulary so that it was simpler. You don't have your college level words, you have your fourth grader words.
Right. Which again, like I'll say, grades beyond that can appreciate this. I mean, I wouldn't care if I were in junior high school and I got a chance to look. I mean, come on. any male child's going to be like, hell yeah. And they're
Yeah.
going to take, they're going to take a time, whatever it's going to be for them, to read through, be inspired, and feel a part of a people.
Right. Well, I'm glad that you said that. One of the things that I wanted to do when I started these books is I wanted to have images that would, as they say, capture the imagination of the children, and the images would stay in their minds. It would stay with them even after they read the books, because I grew up in an age of reading comic books where the superheroes were people to look up to, and I started learning vocabulary early on because the people who wrote the books are forced to put a lot of speech and a lot of thought into little bitty word bubbles. So they had to be very parsimonious with their words and use appropriate language. So I learned that. But also, what I loved the most was the pictures, because you've got the picture and you've got the story inside of your head, and you put that story into those pictures. And those pictures, even though they're static to you as a kid, they're alive and they can inspire you. And then you want to go draw your own pictures, your own versions of that, or you want to make your own little cardboard armor, or make armor out
Yes.
of paper, which I did, and went outside and it lasted about 3.5 minutes before it fell apart. But the inspiration was there.
Yeah, I mean, I
Go
just
ahead.
jump in really quickly, and then you can keep rolling. I mean, at my age, I love looking into this book. I love reading it. The fact that it's written with words for elementary students just enables me to breeze right through it. I don't have to deal with any bizarre constructions. And like you're pointing out, to get to these epic pictures, and all of these pictures, they inspire our imagination. That's what it's igniting inside of us. And that imagination, that's one of our greatest weapons and tools that has worked so well for us. So this really, I mean, you could get this for the pictures. I mean, you got pictures in here that you didn't send all of the pictures, but they're going to really inspire guys. Wow, so many of them really just going to inspire our males to want to be men again. And they can see, as these men of the West are acting in concert, are acting in uniform, that this is the way to behave. If King Leonidas wants you to be a people, he doesn't want us to be selfish individualists. He doesn't want us to pretend that it's all about abstractions. He wants us to defend ourselves, and our young guys, they need that bad. But back to you, brother. I love this matching page here. Fantastic.
Yeah. I did make it a point in this book, like I did in the marathon book, that the Greek hoplites were able to defeat larger enemies, or in the case of Thermopylae, fight against a much larger foe for 3 days, because they fought in the phalanx formation, because they fought together. And I made sure that I pointed it out, that if they had broken apart and fought individually, they would have been quickly defeated. But because they specifically trained together and they had the discipline to stay in the phalanx, regardless of how scary it was or how noisy it was, or they're in pain or tired or whatever, you stay in formation and you work as a team. That's how they were successful. And
so true.
Yeah. Also in this one, I talk about the betrayal of Ephialtes. After 3 days of fighting, Ephialtes, for people who don't know about Thermopylae, was a Greek from the island of Minos, and probably several Greeks were familiar with the landscape. And he went to this guy here on the bottom right there. That's Xerxes. He went to Xerxes and became a trader and said, "Hey, Xerxes, you give me a bunch of money. I'm going to tell you how to get around behind the Greek phalanx, and you can defeat them. You can slaughter all of them, and then you can go ahead and continue your march down into Greece and then take over the rest of Greece. But I personally, I'm going to be enriched." So I wanted the kids to understand what that means to be a traitor, and what betrayal does to us.
My
And
God.
I didn't go off and start preaching and talk about, well, we have a giant percentage of people that are traitors now as opposed to just one person. But I just said, this is an example. This is iconic. This is what happens.
Yes. I mean, all of these selfish individualists in the white race, they're all this Ephialtes, every single one of them. This guy was thinking only about himself. He didn't care about his people. It's not about race. It's not about Sparta. It's just about him. And so he took out his resume, like we say that whites do all the time. He took out his resume. He took it to Xerxes. He said, I can satisfy your desires. Just make sure you pay me in sex, in gold, and etc. And that's what they did. That's exactly what they did. So this is what they, by the way, this is actually like what they look like online when they're saying, oh yeah, ignore that community, that white well-being community over there. They look like that Ephialtes.
Yeah, there he is.
That's what they look like. These are the misfits of our people. This is what people should not be wanting to emulate this. They should be wanting to emulate Leonidas. They want to, well, why is it this, Brant, if this guy were online today looking like this, he would have 500,000 followers. He would have 20,000 lives in his live chat every time he went live. That's what the people regrettably are buying, instead of the actual heroes of our people, like we see up here.
Yeah, there's Lycurgus, and then above him to the right is Leonidas.
This is what health and defense, manliness, men of the West, this is what they look like. Here you have both the king and warrior who fought at the front, and the thinker who gave the law. I mean, it's just epically done, my man. Back to you.
Yeah. Now, this book is a bit more masculine than the other ones, and there will be some girls that will like this, of course. This is going to really appeal to boys. It's just the nature of this material right now. And one of the lines that I really liked from Herodotus is, after the first day of battle, when the 200,000 strong army of Xerxes did not break the Spartan line, Herodotus said that, that day that Xerxes learned that human beings are many, but men are few. And I
oh my God,
over that several times, so that they understand there is a difference. Just because you are a male, that doesn't mean you're a man. And you don't have to be a Spartan all the way out like these guys are, but these are men. And we had a time when our men dominated our lands, and this is how we acted.
Exactly.
And that you can aspire to.
Human beings are many, but men are few. Why are we? I mean, this is, and to live up to this, to be this, to live up to this, rather than LARP as it, to be what they were, to do what they did, to live that life. That's what we should be aspiring. This is what we should be holding aloft, not as just like some cringy ass avatar or banner on your channel, but in actual deed, in actual fact. This is what we should be. How absolutely epic. And here's one of the write your own stories for the youngsters. Write a story about this picture. What do you think is happening here? What's going on? What kind of a festival of our people is happening here? Right. Is it a wedding? Is it? I mean, it's a wonderful thing. How exciting!
Right. So with these pictures at the end in the write your own story section, I'm not saying this is what's going on. So I'm putting that there. They are adjacent to the story, so the kids can pull what they learn from the text and they can apply that to their own little story.
And that I have to say, with all of these books, I find such a powerful moment in the machinery of the book, the learning vehicle of the book, because you have just gotten at their minds with this story, with the pros, with the cons, with the ennoblement of that which is valorous, that which should actually, behavior that should actually be praised and emulated, and behavior that should obviously be condemned. And while that is fresh, here they have this story. And when they go back to the book, maybe they read it, they go back to the book, all of that's going to be drawn up in their minds. And now they're presented with a write your own story, looking at the depiction. At that moment, the children, white children, are inspired to write a story that is congruent with everything that was just taught. And that's totally brilliant. That is magnificently brilliant. I love it. Well done. No wonder you're Dean Danger. There's the cover of the book again. Look at how epic that. What boy wouldn't want this? Sitting on their bedside table, and then maybe even once they get through it, they get a little older. I mean, this is more than handsome enough to take the cover off and frame that. That is so cool, man. But I interrupted you. What else did you have to say?
I don't know. I don't think you interrupted me. Oh, yeah. Well, you're talking about the kids at the end section there. They write a story that's congruent with what they learned. What goes into the book here is what we learn as teachers. So this is the writing the story and the other activities. Those are extension activities. So the way that you reinforce, quote, a lesson is you give extension activities to a child or to whatever age student, so that they then apply what they learned right there. Plus, also, this stuff is so interesting, and it's so important and central to our people that it can serve as this this ingot, or this this firebrand that can propel our kids forward as they grow up, as they become the next generation. They already have this pride and this history inside of them. Now, whether they go into public school or whether they're homeschooled, they've already got this central information down. So they're going to understand, or it's going to make sense to them what's happening in school when they're hit with this anti-white information. It's going to be totally incongruent with what they've already learned. And this is getting to the kids before that anti-white indoctrination gets to them.
Yes. And that's what needs to be done. Parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles. That's what needs to be done. Because if you wait until they hear the anti-whiteism, they will not be a nerd against it. They will not be able to defend themselves against it. And they will take what's being taught to them, both in media, entertainment media, and the teachers, as gospel. And they'll come back, and when you try to reform them, they will find your efforts to reform to be confirmation of your evil. You have to get there first. You have to prepare them. You have to inoculate them, and you need to keep going back. That's why it's so important for these lessons to be taught. That's why it's so important for these meme curatives to be infused in our children, so they can be inoculated. And what's really fantastic about this, and Brant's touched upon it for a moment there, is that the most important things about our preferences, our norms, is that they're presented from the position of they're ours. The manliness is presented, or womanliness is presented as ours. This is who and what we are, not some abstract given to us by pixies at some point in the past. This is our people. This is our peoplehood. Manliness, for example, here you see in various ways. You see it in the actual physical manliness in some of these depictions, but also in the bravery that people can have at any size, in any shape, any level of sickness. The dedication to the truth, the dedication to our people. It doesn't matter how physically masculine you are. All of that depicted as our preferences, our norms, and therefore ours. That's how it has to be delivered to our youth. If we're going to be able to recapture our destiny and to save our folks from what we just witnessed, all of them suffering what we just witnessed, with a solitary white woman all by herself, with no white people caring about her, none, zero, calling the attackers Ners and dismissing that, is the substance of indifference to her suffering. This is the exact opposite of that. It's such a beautiful thing. Brother, did you have anything else you wanted to share about the book or books about School of the West while we have you with us on this wash through?
Yeah, I'll just quickly point out to people that are new to the channel, and there's a lot of you here. It's good to see you. That the School of the West website is a resource for parents, for kids of different ages, from little kids that are just learning to read up to kids going into high school. And there's also information on there for adults as well, to be honest. The books, there's only 6 books right now. They'll be getting churned out as people have time to do that. It's a new section on the site. And I will put, again, the Amazon link for the School of the West books in the chat. I'll also put the link for the School of the West homepage. So if you haven't been to the School of the West, there's probably going to be some material there that you like. In general, there is traditional subjects that you would find in school, and there's also material that is basically white well-being oriented. If you think of taking Go Free and trying to think of the right words here. Simplifying it for the right age group so that they'll understand it and they can cognize the material is what it is. So as I said before, and Jason has pointed out many times, this material gets to the kids first before the anti-whiteism hits them. It prepares them for what they're going to see. So then when they get hit with all this anti-white propaganda, and they recognize it for what it's for. And these lessons are reinforced because they see what the anti-whites are going to do, because we've told them what the anti-whites are going to do. So it's good stuff. So I'll put both links in the chat.
Do that. Yeah. Amazon, folks, you got to go over to Amazon. There is nothing like a giant dose of seeing our people. And I've read from translations years back from the Persians talking about the Spartans in particular, but our people in general in Greece, but moving as a single living organism on the battlefield. That is how we have to resist our victimization. How do we do that? How do we move as a single living organism? How do you put 300 in this gap at Thermopylae and take down tens of thousands of Persians, so stymieing their spirit and etc., that when they finally are able to get through the treason and the treachery of white selfish individualists, when they're finally able to get through, the rest of Greece can handle them handily. How do we act as a single living organism? Not by thinking about the Persian soldiers, not by thinking about the anti-white blacks who murdered this woman's fiance, the life that they were supposed to be starting together, and ritualistically gang raping her. Not thinking about them. We moved as a single living entity by thinking about our brothers on our right and on our left and behind us and in front of us. That's where our thoughts were. That's how we fought. Shield over shield, spear over spear. That is how you win in the world of the human animal in every single endeavor. The battlefield being only one of those, the physical battlefield, but the battlefield of the real, the battlefield of the mind, the battlefield of psychology, the battlefield of the workplace, the battlefield of the educational institution. It is only by thinking of each other that we move as a single organism and arrest our victimization. Big salutes to you, Dean Danger. Big salutes to the great Brant Danger of the West. Ladies and gentlemen, head on over to the schoolofthewest.world. Get on Amazon. Get all of these books. Get several copies. and disperse them among everybody you care about. Brother, anything else to say? If not, we'll let you go.
No, thanks for having me on. And I'm glad that we're getting new people signing up and joining the community.
Magnificent, man. Folks,